Feminism has reached a dangerous point in our society. I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but try to watch until the end before commenting. We all love to laugh at the woman screaming no at hearing the reveal of President Trump in 2016, and it's a meme that has outlasted many others, but there's a sad reality there. This poor woman that we mock and meme has been poisoned by an ideology, and she didn't have to be. There was a time very recently when many people were more religious in our country. Most nations had already been evangelized. When you think about it, St. Thomas of the 12 Apostles had evangelized India in the 1st century. In North America, Christianity spread like wildfire between the time of Our Lady of Guadalupe to the 1800s. We have indigenous Native American saints like St. Kateri Tekakwitha. We have Korean saints. We have a samurai saint and other Japanese saints. We even have Chinese saints. We have saints who came from Africa to America as slaves that woke people today can't seem to get over. St. Josephine Bakhita is a saint that fits that latter description. At what point did we lose the plot? It wasn't just Islam. Modernization and progressive ideologies became our new god. Worse. Because of atheism, we became our own gods. Then there's feminism. The worst, or at least one of the worst, and ranked as one of the most dangerous modern-day idolatries. More dangerous than Islam? The occult? In my perception, yes. Mainly because feminism welcomes all of those things. You know what feminism does and how it starts? Because I've seen it. I had the advantage of watching the earliest seeds of it planted. A lot of it started in media. Whenever there's a competition in a movie or a family sitcom between a girl and boy, the girl always seems to win. I've seen those live-action Disney kids sports films where the protagonist underdog team gets that one girl, and the reaction is always, "What? A girl can't play sports." Then she outperforms all the guys on that team and even the boys on the opposing team, because, you know, that clearly has a long-running reputation for happening in real life. What about the sitcoms where the dad is always useless and the mother is the reasonable and responsible one? Because, you know, reality clearly has a long-running reputation of women always being the responsible one.
And now apparently to see her again, I have to pay for her hair extensions. Presumably I'll pay for her Uber tomorrow to the date. Obviously I'll pay for dinner. All before we go on our first date.
It wasn't just in the media. Growing up, the teachers were predominantly female. In elementary school, they were almost exclusively female, at least in my upbringing. In recent years, if they were male, they were typically effeminate. They always promoted to the girls that they could do whatever they wanted and they should get high-paying careers versus getting married young and having kids. They were told, you don't need a man when you can be like a man. Then came college. I took a sociology class in California. The professor was, lo and behold, a woman who was teaching about glass ceilings, wage gaps between men and women, and white male privilege, among other things in the progressive liberal playbook. I watched girls and women get indoctrinated my entire life. I sat by and did nothing about it at the time because I was being brainwashed too. I broke free when I started to see the destructive symptoms of it. I don't know how everyone else hasn't broken free by now. Feminism lures women in using pathos arguments, and if you're not keen on your Greek, then it means appealing to the emotions, or the emotional argument. I learned this in a humanities class taught by a man, and I heard it again in a public speaking class that I enjoyed the benefit of also having a male professor for. I did better in these classes, big surprise, although I think I also got an A in my sociology class with that feminist teacher, but I'll give credit to my white male privilege for that one. Anyway, pathos appeals to the emotions of the audience. What area are women stronger in than men, even if it's to their own detriment? Emotions. I hate to say it. God sort of designed it that way, but then again, we can also give credit to our fallen nature for that one, all thanks to our first ancestors, Adam and Eve. Women are more easily swayed into arguments based not on logic, logos, but on emotion, pathos. They've been conditioned to be empathetic toward ideologies such as Islam, and even those who practice the occult, by using emotional arguments about inclusion and diversity of ideas. Diversity is our strength. No, it's not. It wasn't our strength during the BLM riots of 2020 because we were ripping ourselves to shreds over a criminal that died of an overdose. But if it's diversity you're looking for, then you can find it in the Catholic Church too. Like I mentioned, we have canonized saints from all over the globe, men and women, and a range of many ages from children to adults. We have different rites, such as the Tridentine Rite, Byzantine Rite, East Syriac Rite, Armenian Rite, Alexandrian Rite, and now Novus Ordo, where anyone can be a Eucharistic minister and you don't have to worry about dress code. Seriously, I've seen a woman in a short skirt standing right next to the altar. I don't condone that, but it exists and it happens. You can't get more diverse than the Catholic Church. Let's revisit that dress code and woman in a short skirt because we've lost the art of modesty. It wasn't technically an art, but at the same time it was a standard being practiced for centuries until the last 100 years. Men and women alike now dress for the specific purpose of receiving attention, even if that attention can go a little too far and become unwanted. We teach boys at prepubescent ages to like scantily clad women, and if they don't, then they're gay. That's what made Tomb Raider as popular as it is now. I'll admit, it worked on me at the time, to my regret. I'd take that back if I could. And it trained so many modern-day lonely simps. It became the origin of the term gooner, which I think is the replacement term of coomer. I won't get too in-depth about what those words mean, but you can lump them in the category of perverts who like to self-gratify frequently. A simp used to be a short term for simpleton, but now it means a male who likes to spend money on an only for the fans content creator with the delusion of enough money spent on her will eventually lead to her becoming attracted to him and giving him, I believe the word coitus was a popular word heavily used in a certain sitcom about nerds that may apply here. Sorry, because of YouTube, I have to use all these censored words. We've been putting so much stock into this culture for over 100 years now, and maybe longer, that it's hard to imagine the way out at this point. I've recently learned that PORN was actually in existence as long as the 1800s. Satan seduced women, who were the peak of God's creation, to become the latest and highest object of idolatry. You know why? Because Satan hates the greatest woman who ever existed, the holiest woman who ever existed, a woman so holy that only she could bear God in his human form in her womb. God chose no other woman, because it's not that God chose Mary, it's that God made Mary specifically for the purpose of being his mother. So Satan likes to do this to women as a form of mockery toward the ultimate woman of all of humanity. Ever since the popularization of #MeToo, women have gone to extremes of defending each other, even though women hate other women more than they hate men, and more than men hate women. I don't know how a woman who declares believe all women can, in the same 5 minutes, call a conservative woman the C word, use your imagination, and wish that she gets R-worded, use your imagination, between sending death threats. Not only that, but women are most jealous and bitter of other women, even if they share the exact same ideologies. Women are also most critical of other women than men are. How united are they really? When these people tell you who they are, and it's usually between the lines, believe them. When a woman with colored hair, one side of her head is shaved, a nose ring, wants you to believe all women, but is quick to send modest Christian women death threats, but also turn a blind eye to a half-naked female Twitch streamer, that tells you who they are. They don't all have to be obese with colored hair, nose rings, and have one side of their head shaved to be feminists. They can even look like someone you would see at church. They can even literally be someone who goes to church with you. Feminism isn't just a fashion wardrobe trend. It's an idolatry. It's an ideology. It's a way of thinking. It's a more modern style of slavery. It's emotional manipulation. It's a cult. It's lasted longer than World War II German bad guys, and it's done far more long-term damage. It's been more successful at disrupting humanity on a global scale. Feminism is psychological warfare, and it's been working. It's made women lonely. It's made men lonely. It's taken away purpose from both men and women. Lonely men turn to drugs, self-deletion, and other harmful vices. Women just seem to go deeper down this rabbit hole while encouraging other women to join them. Feminism has prevented potentially great families from starting. It has robbed the futures of many. World War II left many dead, I won't argue that. But feminism has been destroying generations in a quieter way. Not only that, but feminism has led to the popularization of abortion, which has taken more lives than World War II, believe it or not. I told you in all sincerity, feminism has prevented potentially great couples from meeting and has prevented potentially wonderful families from being raised. Even women with high body counts who have been with a lot of men are feminists because they put themselves on a pedestal, and they expect men to put them on a higher pedestal. No one matters more to them than themselves, and nothing matters more than their own status. Even though they will die with no one caring about them, their cats will just move on, become strays, and learn how to survive in the wild. This video was really supposed to be about the women supporting Lindsay Clancy, but I think I'm more interested in discussing the symptoms of the root of the problem, because I know where this started. I watched it escalate to this point, and it's only going to keep getting worse. Women seem to like being victimized because it's the easiest way of gaining power. Feel bad for them, they receive empathy, they get attention, they can use it to spark an idea and push an agenda. It's why liberals are mostly women and how they've gotten their way so many times. They'll even emotionally manipulate their way into defunding ICE, which will lead to more illegal immigrants, more, to use the YouTube word, unaliving, and R-wording decent women. But when it's an illegal immigrant unaliving or R-wording a white woman, none of these feminists bat an eye. I mean, I know this wasn't an illegal immigrant that took out Irina Zarutska, but, she's another example. But when a white woman calls an illegal immigrant or illegal citizen a certain racial slur, then that woman has to be locked away indefinitely. Where's the consistency? I'm more interested in a solution, and it's simple. We take away their power. We give their power to the Mother of God, Mary. We get better at saying no. We put pressure on our justice system to actually do the right thing. We protest and hound our judges, who release criminals with multiple offenses, courts who turn down proposals that are meant to shut down migrations and visa fraud. We join ICE instead of joining the military because you're just going to get shipped to Iran anyway. We gather together to pray the rosary outside of government buildings. We pray the rosary outside of abortion clinics. We pressure the law enforcement that arrests any of us that pray the rosary outside of abortion clinics. We need to become more thick-skinned. We need to become more stern. Men will have to lead this charge, because it's mostly men who are defending the right to life for the unborn. Like Don John of Austria said at the Battle of Lepanto, there is no paradise for cowards. If good men like us continue to stand by and do nothing about this growing infestation of feminism, then we are preparing ourselves for an abysmal, no, a nightmarish illumination of conscience and threatening our own afterlives with eternal damnation. I know it's a boomer catchphrase, but it appropriately applies here. Men, we have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. I just outlined what we have to do to make changes happen. I gave you the cheat sheet. Do I need to be alone on this? Do I have to risk my own life by praying the rosary at pride parades, outside abortion clinics, government buildings, other leftist rallies? Do I have to pave the way for the rest of you? Or are you going to join me? Yeah, I know. Some of you have wives, some of you have kids. I respect that. You know what, though? That's even more motivation for me to fight this good fight. You want to guess what kind of bodies piled up Normandy Beach? You think it was all young, single men? No, not all of them. Many of them were husbands. Many of them were fathers. They saw a better world where their kids could grow up safe in was more valuable than their own lives. It takes sacrifice to make great changes happen. It's why Jesus died on that cross for us. Without that sacrifice, the sins of Adam would never have been redeemed. You can't have a crusade without Catholicism and Catholic men leading the charge. We just recently passed Saint King Louis IX's feast day. He was a king. He's now a canonized saint. What did Jesus say about the rich man entering heaven? He insinuated it was nearly impossible, yet there are kings and emperors in heaven. But they didn't become canonized saints without showing heroic virtue. And that's what they have in common with every other canonized saint. Saint King Louis IX led a crusade. I think we're long overdue for another crusade. Against feminism, paganism, Freemasonry, liberalism, and Islam. What kind of story do you want to leave behind for someone to read in 100 years? Will you even leave a story worth being told in 100 years? Okay, I know that's prideful and egotistical to think about, but think about what kind of illumination of conscience you want to have at the end of your life then. Men, it's up to us to correct things. But first, surrender your will over to Mary because she'll take it to her son faster than you will. God bless, and Salve Maria. See you next time.